Hello everyone, Raptor 101 here, and today I'm doing a video on what if Big Eatie, or Little Eatie didn't come and help Big Eatie fight the Spinosaurus in the final battle. Well, let's pretty much see how, how the battle started. So pretty much, the original battle happened where Darius was about to get killed by the Spinosaurus, and Big Eatie runs in, pushing the Spinosaurus into a tree, delivering a strong bite, and then roaring at it for the Spino turns around and roars back at Big Eatie. We don't see exactly what happens next, but we do see Little Eatie coming into the fight, eating the mercenary, and then standing by Big Eatie's side. And Big Eatie charges forward, pushing the Spinosaurus over and knocking the Spinosaurus back. The Spinosaurus rolls over, and then the Spinosaurus gets up. It doesn't even look back at them, just straight up runs off. They chase it out of his territory before the gas comes up and knocks Big Eatie and Little Eatie right out. Now, what do I think would happen if Big Eatie did not get a little assistance from Little Eatie? Let's get this straight. For some Spino fans, whoever watches this video, T-Rex fan or not, I just want to confirm some points that Big Eatie, in my personal opinion, was equal or stronger than the Spinosaurus. She was able to ragdoll the Spinosaurus in multiple fights. She was holding her own. Only reason she lost in the original fight was because the Spinosaurus had to get assistance from a few other dinosaurs to get the edge on Big Eatie. Now, for the original fight, okay. Now for a new fight, so here what would happen is Spinosaurus would turn around and roar at Big Eatie. Big Eatie would roar back, and this time she would attack first. She would grab the Spinosaurus by its head, then the Spinosaurus would, roar in pain as it would use its claw to get Big Eatie off. Big Eatie would then headbutt the Spino, and the Spino would claw at Big Eatie before biting her neck. Big Eatie would roar in pain before shoving the Spinosaurus and grabbing him by his. She would then kind of do the same exact scene from JP3, and she would grab the Spinosaurus, take a few steps forward, and slam the Spinosaurus to the ground, almost a parallel to in Jurassic Park 3. She would pick up the Spinosaurus and slam his head against the same tree she just did. Spinosaurus would use his tail to tail whip Big Eatie and spin around once again. As he tried to spin around quick enough to bite Big Eatie was able to duck under his attack and bite the Spino around his head. Spino, again using his arms, is able to pin down Big Eatie's head, biting her once again around her neck, using its arms to hold Big Eatie and trying to, crush her neck, this time trying to kill her outright. Big Eatie roars as she cannot do anything at this moment, and as she's struggling and shaking her head, soon the Spino lifts her up, and its claw slips off of her head. And that's when Big Eatie bites onto the Spino's arm, shoving herself into the Spino, and does the same move she did in the original series, pushing the Spino over. Spino rolls. The Spino gets up and looks towards Big Eatie. It looks back as Big Eatie lets out a roar. Spino turns around and roars back. The two run at each other, and Big Eatie gets the first attack, biting into the Spino's arm. The Spino's biting into her back. Soon she moves around and grabs to the Spino's neck. Spino screeches in pain as this time Big Eatie has the Spinosaurus by his neck. Spinosaurus is screeching in pain as we can see a little bit of blood forming around the bite area. As Big Eatie's just about to kill it, the gas starts to come up. There's an earthquake, and there's a little bit of gas coming up from the ground, knocking Big Eatie and the Spinosaurus out right before, or knocking Big Eatie out. And for a second, the Spinosaurus is able to just get away or get right out of Big Eatie's grasp and runs for his life. So, before eventually passing out, and that is the reason. I think, that's the reason I think this fight would go like this, right? Because we know Big Eatie is just as agile, or actually more agile than the Spinosaurus, is faster, I believe, has stronger bite force. So we saw in every battle she was able to grab and ragdoll the Spinosaurus. I doubt she would struggle now, just because the Spinosaurus is by itself and they're both not controlled. Both fights, Big Edie has learned how to fight the Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus wasn't even in control of its own body while fighting, so it's possible it doesn't really know how to. Well, okay, if this is the same Spinosaurus from GP3, then yeah, it would know how to fight Rexes. So what I just said there might be totally stupid, actually, but you know, that right there is just something that I want to point out. But Big Edie definitely, I think, would have the strength to ragdoll him, would have the experience to know how to fight him. She would have everything she needed to beat the Spinosaurus here. Now, the reason I left it off at Big Edie not outright killing him is because I know a lot of fans do love the Spinosaurus, and I think Calatraro, that's the main reason he didn't want to kill off the Spinosaurus, is because he kind of wanted it to be like, not to want to really upset the Spino fans, because he knows, well, some of them are really toxic, but, we all know who I'm talking about. So he just ended it off on like, okay. He just ended it off on the Spino losing and running away for the second time in a movie, or not a movie, but, in general. So the reason I ended it on the gas coming up is because I believe in the original series, the gas ended up coming up as like Big Edie and Little E after they chased the Spino off. The gas came up, which knocked them both out. So I could definitely see this happening if the fights actually happen. Like if it's the original timeline in the series, this is pretty much how it would originally happen, most likely. The Spino would be losing and Big Edie would be chomping into the Spino's neck. We would see blood coming from the Spino as Big Edie would then, just as she's about to kill him, the gas would come up, knocking out Big Edie, and then soon, right after, would knock out the Spinosaurus. That is the reason why I did that. So, I still would leave it off on Big Edie winning, but definitely would be a little bit harder. She probably maybe even get a few more scars on her from the Spino claws, but definitely how pissed she was, she would destroy the Spinosaurus outright. Big Edie, in my opinion, strongest T-Rex in the franchise. Possibly not stronger than Rexy Prime, but I might have to do a video on that and explain it. But that's pretty much my opinion on this. If anybody does comment on this, I do want to hear you guys' opinion and what you think. Well, goodbye, and I probably may post another video today, maybe. One Eye versus Indominus Rex. Stay tuned. Goodbye.